Hi, kids. Here we are, Race Against Death. Today we're going to do two chapters. Shock of a Lifetime is the first one. In an odd way, electricity is like water. It's hard to imagine life without it. It lights up cities, cooks meals, turns fans, makes televisions, computers work, even runs life-saving hospital equipment, and yet it can strike a full-grown man dead in his tracks. That's exactly what it would have done to Bernard Rossi one fine June morning. It's June right now, so there's a time like this. One fine June morning in 1977. If it hadn't been for a brave 16-year-old named Scott Baer. Rosie and Bear were walking through the Indian Bluff Forest Preserve in Illinois, close to where the Rock River runs into the Mississippi. They were walking behind a crane, not a bird, but a tall machine used to build skyscrapers. The crane was carrying heavy pipes suspended from a metal cable, and Rosie, the 62-year-old maintenance man for the forest, was steadying the pipes with his hand. As they passed under some power lines, the crane's metal boom struck a live wire, and 7,600 volts of electricity surged down the cable, passing through the pipes into Rosie's body. Now, the little electric outlets in most people's homes carry 120 volts of electricity. Even that much can kill a person if the person touches the outlet with the wet fingers. The electricity treats the body as if it were a piece of wire running right through it into the ground. With a current of 7,600 volts running through him, Rosie was within seconds of death. His muscles convulsed so that he couldn't let go of the pipes. He couldn't breathe or move, and as the electric charge coursed down his right side and bounced back up his left foot, it left painful burns on his skin. I was knocked to the ground, Scott said, and then I saw my boss just standing there shaking. He was trying to say something, but nothing could come out. Still stunned from the shock himself, Scott jumped to his feet, ran to Rosie, and circled his arms around him. That could be dangerous, too. Then, with one jerk of his arms, he pulled Rosie free of the pipes and free of the current's deadly embrace. Rosie was rushed to the hospital and then transferred to a special burn clinic in Iowa. At first, the doctors feared he would lose some of his toes, but thanks to Scott Baer's quick reaction, Rosie not only lived, but he is also fully recovered. Wow! See that? So what he must have done is he must have put his arms around him without touching him, locked his fingers, and then jerked, because if he had touched him, the electricity would have gone through him too. So he must have gotten away from him, around him like this, and then jerked like this. So that way the current wouldn't have had time to go through him. That's amazing. Well, here's another one. Twister. Oh, did I show you the picture for the... I did, didn't I? Yeah, there it is. So Twister. The only tornado most people know much about is the one in The Wizard of Oz, the one that whirls Dorothy's house up into the air and sets it down into Munchkin Land. Well, I live in Oklahoma, and I know a lot about tornadoes. Been through several of them. Well, in real life, tornadoes don't whirl many houses into the air, at least not in one piece. Formed most often in the Great Plains of America, where huge hot and cold weather systems collide, tornadoes, also called cyclones or twisters, can generate terrifying power. A single tornado packs the energy of an atomic bomb. Passing close to a house, it can suck windows and doors from their frames, and in a direct hit, it can smash a solid building into splinters. A tornado is one of nature's most awesome forces. A tornado watch had been broadcast for Pontiac, Michigan on a warm March day in 1976. But Donna Slack, setting off to babysit for the three little Hedges boys, must have had other things on her mind. Donna was 15, pretty, doing well in her junior year in high school, and already thinking about joining her brother John at Western Michigan University. Babysitting and her part-time job at a local restaurant were bringing in some money, So even though the sky was heavy with storm clouds that day, spitting rain as she walked the few blocks from her house, the weather didn't dampen her spirits. The afternoon and early evening passed quickly with the three boys. Aaron, Jason, and Justin were 5, 4, and 3 years old, in that order. They loved having Donna sit with them. At 5 o'clock, after some television and a few games of hide and seek, Donna started to make them supper. Rain was pouring down outside, and lightning had begun to flicker across the sky, filling the clouds with an eerie light. The phone rang. It was Hal Muscovitz, who lived across the street. He was going out to a concert that evening, and the boy's parents had said they would lend him a pair of binoculars. He told Donna he would be over soon to borrow them. At 6:30, with dark clouds just beginning to fade into night, Donna herded the boys upstairs and turned on the hot water for their bath. The wind howled outside as she started to undress them. Then, out the window, she saw Hal drive across the street and up the circular front driveway, staying inside his car to avoid the torrential rain. "You kids stay here. I'll be right back," she told the boys, who were hopping up and down by the edge of the tub. Donna ran downstairs, picked up the binoculars, and opened the front door. And then she saw Muscovitz do a very strange thing. He started running toward her and then stopped, looked up, ran back to his car as fast as he could, dove in, and tore off down the driveway. Donna looked in the direction Muscovitz had looked. There, racing toward her from the west, was a huge, gray, funnel-shaped cloud that reached from the sky down to the earth. Uh-oh, it's a tornado! She rushed back inside the house and set the binoculars down on the table, and just as she did so, the tornado tore through a power line, and all the lights in the house went out. She groped her way back to the front door to try and close it, but by then the twister was so close that it wrenched the door out of her hand. "The kids started screaming," Donna said. "I told them to hold on to the banisters and come downstairs. The boys had made it to a landing about 2 steps from the ground floor when I realized we didn't have time to get to the basement. She threw them down on the landing and lay on top of them. What a brave girl!" Donna acted just in time. A second later, the tornado hit. Boom! It ripped the 2-story house apart, scattered windows, beams, doors, and furniture to the winds, and lifting Donna, who weighed 105 pounds, and the boys into the air and flinging them 60 feet from where they had left from what was left of the house. Dazed and bewildered, Donna looked up. She slowly came to her senses. "I thought I was dead, or dreaming, for about 15 seconds," she said. "Then I pinched myself," I've done this before, "and realized I was still alive." She looked around. There, still underneath her, was Aaron, cut, bruised, and terrified, but all right, and with him was Justin. But where was Jason? Where was the little 4-year-old? See, there she is. See, there's the twister coming at them. There's Muscovitz leaving, and she's running back into the house with the binoculars. Oh, that would be so scary. There, a few yards away, Jason lay covered with debris, torn and bleeding from cuts that later took 35 stitches to sew up. But he too was alive. They were all alive, and the tornado that had killed one person, injured more than 40, and destroyed and damaged 85 houses had moved on and left them in its wreckage. Donna cleared the rubble from Jason. She carried and led the 3 shivering young boys to what had been the front yard, keeping them away from live wires and broken glass. Then she flagged down a car driven by an elderly couple. Soon her parents arrived and took them all to the hospital. There was one thing Donna didn't see until later, something that showed with frightening clarity what would have happened to the 3 boys if she hadn't gotten them downstairs. More than a quarter of a mile away from their house, the tornado had dumped the bathtub, a mangled piece of metal. Wow! I've seen some damage that tornadoes have done. So that's amazing that they survived that. What smart thinking Donna did. Okay, we'll be back tomorrow for more. Until then,